reflections. Yeah. And since you've been gone, I've been trying to fix me. And I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. Lately I've seen you on television.
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. There's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform. G. Alfred Palmer bridges the gap from uncertainty to the purpose, to passion, and leadership. Book him today for your next event, and you won't be disappointed.
Feeling all right? Just had your weekend. Just had your weekend. Woo! I don't want to stop, but I need to stop. We gotta get to work. Woo! Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Woo! We're on tonight. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube and Twitter. Appreciate it. Appreciate you tuning in tonight. That's right. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. They out there. You better come on in this house. One more time. It's the Red Hot Mike. And I am your host, G. Alfred Palmer, and I am excited about being with you one more again. One more again. Yes, yes, yes. It's that time. It is that time. And I need to get my hat right. Let me get some lights out of the way. Be right back. Well, here we go. We're trying to get some of the lights out of the way because the lights can be distracting, even though I like them. I really do. I still want to get rid of some of it so that we can communicate without anything being in the way. Sometimes the lights get in the way. There's so many things that can get in the way, so I have to take my time and scout around and make sure that I'm seeing what I need to see, because I want to be able to be effective, but at the same time, I don't want to continue to make the same mistakes over and over again. So we're trying to do things better. Okay, so it's the Red Hot Mike. I am your host, G. Alfred Palmer, and welcome once again. We're here after the weekend, and I am, one of the things that I had some sadness. Well, not sadness. I don't like the word sadness, but today was the day that we went and we buried my oldest brother. And so he is, he's already gone, but we're finished with that particular endeavor. And so I just want to say once again that I love my brother, and Harry Gaylord Palmer, also known as Talib Muhammad. And it's done. Anyway. But life is about celebration. When you're here and you have life and breath in your body, it is really important that you take advantage of the opportunities that's presented before you while they are, so that and that's what this is all about. You may not agree with what I say, you may not agree with what I think or what I believe or what I espouse. That's fine. You don't have to. I'm not talking to you. But I am talking to those that would have an ear to hear. Other than that, keep doing you, boo-boo. That's all. I mean, keep doing you, because I'm going to keep doing me, right? Because I don't know who else to be, right? Do you? It's all about being who you are. I don't like this shirt. I just got this shirt. Anyway. What is a woman? Now, let me just say this. There's a new video that just came out, and it's called "What Is a Woman." There's a lot of right and left jarring or jawing, bad mouthing, or discussion around this topic of what is a woman. And so um, I think I have a little different take on it, and I want to bring that because um, we we talked about there's a red pill, there's a blue pill, and I propose that there is a green one as well, and that's the one we're looking at. We're looking at the green pill here on this station, purple on the other one. Okay. Anyway, so we want to talk about what is a woman, and what I'm seeing. Again, as I look upon the horizon, what I'm seeing is people that are really, really being um, disagreeable about what defines a woman. What defines a woman? Now, you know, I'm going to give you what I believe is my take on what is a woman, and what it may not sound like something that you've heard, or it may. And if that's the case, all I'm here to do is confirm what you already know. And if it's not, I'm here to hopefully, ignite you in a way that you will begin to go and to begin to look and to study and to research and to do whatever you need to do to gain a better understanding of what a woman is. We have to understand what a woman is. Gentlemen, we need to understand what a woman is. Now, as usual, before we get started, I do have a couple of things I want to do beforehand. As usual, I want to go over the scent of the evening. Now, I'm going to tell you what the scent of the evening is, but it is not my verbiage. It is the name of the scent. The scent is called Fuck Mondays, and that's what we got tonight as our scent. And it is a lively citrus note, providing the energetic jolt you need to crush the day. So it must be something that you can wear in during the day. Like, I guess that's the whole idea of F Monday. While fruity elements like peach skin and apple take the edge off the intensity, clary sage and sandalwood mingle for a pungent, most a mood boast, while comforting notes like suede and skin musk keep the scent and you grounded. Wow. I hope this is good because I'm gonna be honest, it sounds good, doesn't it? Citrus, apple, clary sage, sandalwood, and skin musk. I don't know what that is. Somebody's musky skin? I don't know. All right, anyway, let's try it. Let's give it a shot. Mm, I do like this. I do like Fuck Mondays. Um, and I don't like the name, but that's what the name is. I can take the citrus note without question. I can smell the apple. I can smell the lemon. Yes, it's very, very good. Peach skin. I don't know if I smell that, but I do smell citrus and apple. I really do smell that. Um, I don't know. I'm not familiar with sandalwood or clary sage, but I will say there is a tint of a little flowery note in it. There is a note. I would say it is not a very. It says it's pungent, but I could see you wearing this to work, fellas. I could see you wearing this to work. It is something that smells good. Excuse me, and not only does it smell good, but it's something that I think that it will arise and alert those around you, because it's not very strong, but it's something that will linger once you leave the room, not pungently, but there will be a hint of it. I like it. I like this a lot, even though I don't like the name. I think it's a really good scent. I really do. And I think I would wear this. I would wear this. I really would. F Mondays. All right. That's the name of the scent of the evening. That's what it looks like. Okay. All right. So now there is again what tonight's topic we want to talk about is what is a woman. Now what I would ask you to do is, once again, would you help me? Would you help me? I'm asking for help. Would you help me by subscribing, liking, and if you would share and hit the notification bell? I would greatly appreciate it, and I'm going to give you a chance to do that right now. Would you do that? I'll pause right here and let you do that. Thank you so much. Hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like and that share, and hitting that bell on the side so that you can be notified when there's more content, new content being delivered from this channel. Once again, I want to make a toast. Yes, I want to make a toast. And the toast is from the host to you the most, to all that you are and all will be. Pomegranate juice. Good antioxidant. Okay. So we're gonna that's what we're gonna talk about tonight. I'm not gonna be with you long tonight. I'm gonna try to shorten some of our broadcast and maybe bring some more people in and let them become a part of the program. That's what I really would like to do. But what we're going to do tonight is what we always do. We have an opportunity and to share with you from the the answer wheel. Remember the answer wheel? So we're going to give you a shot at that. Once again, I don't know if I'm adding the light because I don't know if that's going to be too much. You think that's too much? Maybe we'll just leave it like that and we won't add the light, because I'm thinking that I didn't want it to be too much, but at the same token, I wanted you to be able to see it. This is our answer, the answer wheel portion of our program. And the answer wheel basically, it provides us with the universal answers to some questions that we may have, some things that we may be dealing with right now in our lives. So let me get some. I like my music with this one, so I have to find it though. Bear with me. And we gotta get it turned down. Wrong way. Sorry about that. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so it is our answer wheel portion, and we do this to allow the universe to give us an opportunity to answer something that we may be toiling with, a situation, a problem that we need an answer to. So what we do is we give you an opportunity to hear from the answer wheel, not from me or not from anyone else. We just give it to you, and we let the wheel answer the questions. You can see the answers where it says no way, try again, ask a friend, yes, maybe, and definitely. Now, for some reason, lately, we've been getting a lot of maybes. So let's see what we get tonight. And we're going to let the answer wheel go. And what's going to happen is it's going to eventually stop on one of those answers. Now, what is it that you're going through? What situation do you find yourself facing right now? Okay, what is it? What is it that, oh, it's hitting my cup. What is it that you're going through? I don't know. right now, the answer wheel is saying, well, it goes around and around and around and around. And the answer is definitely. Definitely. Whatever it is that you're looking at or dealing with, the universe is saying definitely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. What is that? I don't know. I don't know. Does it call for some changes in your life? Is there some changes that need to be made? Definitely. Right? Is there something that you need to do? Definitely. Is it something that you need to be? Definitely. Is it somewhere that you need to go? Definitely. Whatever the answer is, that question has been plaguing you, tormenting you almost for a long time, and you don't know what to do. You've been praying about it and meditating about it, but it hasn't been a clear answer. If you would listen and hear what I'm saying to you now, this could be the answer that you've been waiting for. Definitely. You need to do that. Definitely. It can bring and make change in your life that you never anticipated. And then, sometimes change, especially when we first start, it can be a bit uncomfortable. But at the same token, it's important for us to embrace whatever that is, whatever that change that may be necessary. It's important for us to embrace it and to welcome it, because what it does is open up a brand new avenue. It takes us down a brand new stream that we probably would never have gone down. Right? So in that's the answer wheel for tonight. Anyway, I am really excited about this particular session tonight because I've been listening to some folks on the social media, and the whole thing about the question of gender roles and gender identity. All these things are coming up, and I want to say this before I start. I am not trying to harm or hurt anyone. That is not my intention. It is not my motive. I'm only here to speak to those that would have an ear to hear what I'm going to say. If that's not you, I'm not talking to you. And you can continue to do whatever it is that you're doing. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not even talking to you. Only to those that have an ear to hear what I'm going to say. Other than that, you can continue to go and do and operate and function however you want. That has nothing to do with me. All I have to do is to release what I'm supposed to release tonight. And that is to talk about this whole idea of what is a woman. Because what I'm hearing is, in one extreme, I'm hearing one thing, and in the other extreme, I'm hearing something else. Now, what I want to say is that I am the type of person, I believe, that I think I would say that I'm more in the middle, and if that's possible. So we'll see. We'll see how it comes out, because I want to share some things with you that may be a little different. Maybe a little different. We'll see. All right. So, what is a woman? Some of us define. I heard the definition. I've heard people define it as an adult female. Right. I've heard some people identify it as an adult female. Now, when we talk about some people, when they hear the word female, they're thinking of it from a biological standpoint. And that's what most folks do. They identify it from a biological standpoint. And that is partly true. That is, because when we start talking about biology, we get really talking about the physiological piece, the physiological development. So that is a part of our masculine and feminine development. But it is also a part of our stages of human development for a girl. Okay, so that's part of it as well. But what I want to show is that when we say that a woman is an adult female, that's similar to saying that a man is an alpha male or an adult male, I should say, not alpha male, but an adult male. But the bottom line is a male and a man are not the same, and neither is a female or a woman the same. Now, I've shared this and I've shared this, and I'm going to share it again, that when we were born, came into this world, when we came into this world, we came in as a boy or a girl. Now, some people will debate that, but you can debate it all you want. Again, who has an ear to hear? And they call that binary or duality. But the bottom line is we're either born from feminine energy or we're created from masculine energy. When we come into this particular realm, we exchange the masculinity or the femininity, because we're talking about women. We change from feminine to femininity, because feminine cannot enter into this realm, because it doesn't operate on this realm. It operates by principle. The principle of feminine is that it receives, incubates, it secures and protects. That is not gender. Okay, feminine is not gender. Feminine is not gender. Feminine is functional and operational. It is not gender. It doesn't become gender until it comes into this realm and it puts on a body. Now, why is it put on a body? It puts on a body because it must put on a body to function in this realm. There are some scientific requirements to functioning in this realm. And in this realm, you must have a body in order to function in this realm. If it doesn't have a body, it cannot function. That's why my brother is no longer here. He no longer has a body. And because he has no body, he cannot remain in this and operate. It's illegal. It will be against law. It will be against scientific method. So in order for him or anyone to function in this realm, or any woman, well, feminine, woman, girl, female, to function in this realm, has to have a body. When she has a body, it transforms from feminine to femininity. And femininity begins to manifest itself in 3 stages of development for the girl. It's a girl, then it becomes a female, then it becomes a woman. Now, and that's what it's important to understand. We have geared and defined both male and female by physiological requirements or age, what we call chronological. And so that's what we've been doing. We've been looking at it from a chronological standpoint, but even more so from a physiological from a biological perspective. Okay, and so we look at and we say that a female is a woman. No, it's not, because what we fail to realize is that we do not mature based on physiological or chronological criteria. We matriculate based on the 8 functions or the 8 elements of masculine and feminine evolution that we've been talking about. And the reason why I keep talking about it is because it needs to be continually repeated. It needs to be continually repeated. So when we talk about the idea that what is a woman, okay, what is a woman? What we have to first understand is this, that a woman starts out as a girl, right? Now, even before the girl, it comes in, feminine comes in, and it comes into this realm, and it changes from feminine to femininity. Now, why does that happen? Because feminine cannot function in this particular realm. Why? Because it's illegal. It is illegal and it violates scientific methodology and law. So it can't. So it has to come into this realm, put on a body, and it allows feminine to now function in this realm, not as feminine, but as femininity. Now, what is femininity? Femininity is the materialistic or the manifestation in the physical body, legal physical body of feminine. So what does feminine do? Feminine, again, what feminine does is that it incubates, it receives, it secures, and it protects. So now it does those same qualities, those same characteristics. They're not the only ones, but they get those same characteristics now have the legal right to operate in this function from a scientific perspective. So now we have that ability, those functions, those characteristics in femininity in this realm. Okay. Now, once those characteristics are in this realm, now what needs to happen is that those characteristics are drawn to like in this realm. In other words, the girl baby will be drawn to the girl mother, or the female mother, or the woman mother. Why? Because like is drawn to like. Because they see themselves in that. And so because of that, the first teacher of femininity is that which holds femininity. So for the girl, the mother is the one that should be the one who shows and demonstrates the operation of femininity, which is to incubate, receive, nurture, and protect, right? Amongst the others, but those are the main four. And so what she does is she nurtures and she teaches and she emulates and she demonstrates those qualities and those characteristics for the girl. Now, the girl is young. And we're talking about the formative years. And I say the formative years are anywhere between 5 to 10 years. The first 5 to 10 years are the formative years. And in those formative years, she's learning. She's learning. Now, what is she learning? She's learning from the 8 elements of femininity evolution, or the evolution of femininity. However you want to word it. The evolution of femininity. Now, in the evolution of femininity, we have 8 criteria. The 8 elements within those criteria that she has to be developed in order for her to matriculate from girlhood to femalehood. Okay. Now, again, these 8 elements of feminine evolution are for every girl. Every girl. Now, we've talked about these elements. And we've talked about them. And we're going to continue to talk about them because they're important for us to understand. Okay? So, when we talk about the 8 elements of feminine evolution, the first, and it's no particular order, but these are the ones that, and it would depend on the characteristics or the character or the personality or leaning of the individual as to what is going to be, or their proclivity toward what particular element that will be initiated above the others, and then how it carries on. So it's all 8, but it's not in any particular order. Okay. Now, the first thing is that I want to mention is, and again, it's not in an order, is the philosophical development. Philosophical development talks about the way that we see the world and the way that the world, how we interact with the world, our philosophical view of the world. Is this cup half empty or half full? It gives us our perspective on life, on the world, and how we see ourselves in the world, and how we see the world acting and reacting toward us. And it depends. Some people have a more pessimistic philosophical view. Some have a more positive philosophical view. What is your philosophical view is dependent upon how you developed. How did mom develop you, young lady? Well, you're not a lady, little girl. Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the girlhood, right? So, little girl, how does this go about? Well, some of the things that happen is, from a philosophical perspective, she's taught values, and she's taught very, very important things that the mother sees as important for her to sustain and survive in this particular realm. And those philosophical views vary from woman to woman, or from female to female, depending on who the mother is. Because not every female becomes a woman, but every woman has passed through femalehood and girlhood. She's the quintessential of femininity. The woman is. She's the epitome of womanhood. Okay? So philosophical development, chronological development is talks about aging and aging. The age and aging. See, this is where we really have most of our how we determine whether a girl is reached femalehood or a female has reached womanhood. Normally chronological by age. Okay, she's old enough to drink. She's old enough to marry. She's old enough to go into the military. She's old enough. So we have a tendency to determine things by chronological development. Okay. Now, this chronological development is not something, we don't dismiss it, but it should not be the primary, even though in most cases it is. It's the primary means that we determine on suitability. Okay. Or unsuitability. You're too young. Oh, you're too old. What's up, old G? What's up? What's happening? Unc? Which means you're old, right? No, you're just mature. I'll talk about it another time. Okay, physiological development. Physiological development is the other aspect, like chronological development, that we seem to really focus in on. And chronological, it talks about age. Physical development and attributes, not age. Age is let me back up. Chronological is age, but what we're talking about now is the physiological. The physiological talks about physical attributes. We look into lips, hips, and fingertips. We talked about this our last broadcast. We're not going to go into it real deep, but I need to mention them. Okay, the next one is intellectual development. How sound are they? The ability to reason, understand, and objectively process. Okay, to process information, data. Some people can't process data very well. They more and females have a tendency to do this. They have a tendency to be more in tune with emotions than they are when in intellectual development. And that's not saying that they're not smart or they're not intellectual. It says that what I'm saying is that they have a tendency to lean toward emotional development, and there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so that's intellectual development, physiological development, intellectual development, right? And next is psychological development. Psychological development is mental / emotional / intellectual development or evolution. So when we talk about psychological, it comes from the word psyche, which encompasses the mind and the will and the emotion, one's propensity or leaning toward certain behaviors, modes of thinking arising in their mind. So the psychological development is how we mature and develop in our mind. Okay, how we're able to put things together relative to thinking, how we're able to put things together in our psyche, in our mind, in our will, and our emotions, how certain behaviors and modes of thinking seem to be more pronounced in us. And that's where we have different if there's balance there, we have a one who's balanced in that area. But if not, then there's an imbalance psychologically. Then we're looking at probably diagnostic statistical manual 5, which is the DSM-5, that will help us to identify the areas where the psychological development may be lacking and what we can do to help rectify or to remedy it. Okay, so it becomes very crucial psychological development, very important. Does she have mental health issues? Okay, and then the next is cognitive development. Cognitive development relative is the mode of thinking, reasoning, and remembering. Does she have the ability to function, to be functional, practical, and useful from a cognitive standpoint? Are they able to synthesize information? Are they able to take it in and use it, chew it up, digest it, and bring it out and use it constructively? Cognitive development, important. Next is emotional development. Emotional development is crucial to femininity. It's crucial to femininity because femininity needs to bring that piece to the table when dealing with masculinity, because masculinity tends to not lean toward the emotional. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing more and more males who are able to, and because of the lack of development intellectually and cognitively, they've been taken over by the emotional piece, and they become more emotional developed because there was no masculine or patriarchal example in their house growing up to establish that same kind of relationship that the feminine girl has with the mother, the boy needs with his father. But we see that in many homes, because statistics show us, especially in the Black homes, there's 70% raised. 70% of our children are raised in single parent homes, and those that 1 out of 4 of women will be married, and of the 1 out of 4, 80% of them will be will initiate a divorce, and so they will raise children by themselves. And so they think that, putting themselves first is the most important thing. No, the children are the most important thing because they are the legacy, right? They are the legacy. They are the ones that are carry on the species, the name, right? And so, but what we've done, especially in some cultures, is we've made females have made themselves the most important thing. Not even the children. It's about them. It's not even about the husband. It's not even about a husband. They don't want a husband. It's about them and them being and doing whatever they want to do. That's dangerous because what that does, it endangers the species. Okay, but the last developmental evolution in this phase is mental development. Mental development speaks to the brain developing, because organically the brain needs to develop in order for it to function properly, and some don't function properly. And so those are important to understand. And if those things, all 8 of those things, operate and function, and the girl gets the right type of discipline, discipleship, and training, she matriculates somewhere between the ages of 12 to about 14. She matriculates into femalehood. She matriculates into femalehood. Now, in femalehood, when she starts femalehood, again, these 8 requirements, these 8 evolutionary elements are present and has to be revisited on a different level. On a different level, because she's more mature, hopefully, because by virtue of her matriculating from girlhood to femalehood says that she has done and needed the necessary development to move. But however, not all girls are required to matriculate and develop in all 8, maybe 2, and that is the chronological, right, and the physiological. So we look at more of the physiological, because especially with girls, because we're looking at the lips, hips, and fingertips. And she may be matriculated up or passed up to femalehood, but she's really not. She's still really a girl in the other 6 areas that she was required to have in place prior to matriculating to femalehood. And in femalehood, the same process takes place. These same 8 chronological elements have to be dealt with, but on a different level. And it depends on the training, the discipleship that she had will determine how she operates and how she functions and how she learns and how she sees the world, how she operates in the world, her mind, how she thinks about the world, how she thinks about herself, etc., etc. So it's 8 more elements of femininity evolution. You have 8 in the girl stage, 8 in the female stage. Now again, once again, just like in the girl stage, the 8 elements need to be appropriately addressed and developed in and evolved in. She has to evolve in the 8 areas that we just covered in order for her to matriculate from femalehood into womanhood. That's what the key is, ladies and gentlemen. The key is womanhood is determined not by physicality. It's not even determined by age. They are part of it, but those are the least of the most important. But the other 6 are critically important. Critically important, emotional, intelligent, philosophical, right? Intellectual. All of these are very mental development, cognitive. These are very, very important in solidifying a stable and a mature and individual that's ready to move from femalehood to womanhood. Here's the problem that we're seeing now that's out there. What they're still stuck in the biological, and they're still stuck in the chronological development processes or evolutionary processes. So it's important for us to realize that it's more to being a woman than just your age or your biological makeup. It is development in all areas, all 8 areas, which is becoming more and more of a trial in our community, culture, and clan. Because more and more people are going by what they feel. Now, understand this, ladies. Feelings are a part of your emotional development. Now, some of you, because you lack development in other areas, you're overdeveloped in your emotional evolution. And I hear people tell me, I'm an empath. No, you're a person that's overly developed in your emotional development. And most of these people are not empaths. They're just emotionally underdeveloped. Some are overdeveloped emotionally. And to the point that they're suspicious of everything and everyone. That's not balance. That's not balance. But that happens with females who have not developed properly. They'll get overly developed in the emotional space, just like males will get overdeveloped in the physiological space. Muscles, 6 feet, 6-pack, the whole deal. But for females, excuse me, for females, they become overdeveloped. They become overdeveloped emotionally. Their evolution emotionally isn't balanced. So as a result, what happens is maybe because of their age or their physiological development, they're seen eventually as being women, and they're not. They're not. They're not women. They're still females because they lack development in the proper development and the maturation necessary to be called a woman. They lack the development in the 8 areas. The same thing goes for the boys. The same thing that what I'm talking about. Now, as a woman, these 8 elements are still involved. So you got 8 as a girl, 8 as a female, and 8 as a woman. Now, why is it as a woman? Because you have to fulfill your womanhood. So when you come into womanhood, after you matriculate from femalehood into womanhood, now it's about becoming a mature woman. And a mature woman develops in those 8 areas. Now, once she's developed in those 8 areas, what's next going to happen is that she's going to mature and she's going to matriculate into elderhood. Okay? She'll matriculate into elderhood. But that's the same thing that happens with men. Now, here's something that I need to add that I probably should have added at the beginning. And that is when girls mature quicker than boys. Now, why is that? Why is that? Well, it's because femininity ages faster than masculinity. Why? Because femininity is a byproduct of the it's not so much a byproduct, but when femininity came into this sphere, I probably shouldn't talk about this here on this station. I'm going to leave that for the other station. But I what I do want to say is there's a reason why. There's a reason why that femininity and masculinity has to come in the way that they do into this sphere. But I'm not going to get into it on this channel. Come over to the purpose sphere, and we'll talk about it some more. Now, I've heard someone say this the other day. They say that embryos, it's being argued that embryos are female before they are developed into males. An embryo is an embryo. It has no gender. It is still developing. This is not true because an embryo does not have a gender. That's why they're called embryos. Embryos is a developmental offspring which through development becomes a fetus. Now, once they become a fetus, now they have gender, right? But that doesn't have gender as an embryo. That's the developmental aspect, the developmental phase. Okay, and it takes approximately 8 weeks for it to develop. So when a female is when two parents have intercourse and they have a girl, it's not, the embryo is not a girl. The embryo is an embryo until it reaches the developmental stage of having a sex or a sign. Now, sex. What is sex? We talked about sex. Sex is the biological assignment, the biological assignment, the equipment, the working, the tools. It says here, sex is defined as a biological factor such as reproductive organs, genes, and hormones. Sex is not binary. Sex is not binary. A person may have the genes that people may associate with being male or female, but their reproductive organs, genitals, or others may look different. And here's what I got to say about that. There'll always be exceptions for whatever reason. But see, what we want to do is we want to concentrate on the exceptions as opposed to focusing on the rule. The majority of people are going to have the proper sex assignment with the proper gender. There's going to be those that are going to have sex that there somehow something happened. There was a malfunction. For whatever reason, something happened. I don't know why. I don't know why they were born that way. But the majority of us, the vast majority of us, are not born that way. And I'm not saying we forget about them, but I'm saying that is a total different case that we're not addressing at this particular time. What we are addressing is the whole idea of femininity. How feminine became femininity, and how femininity became a girl, a female, and a woman. Because what is a woman is the question. What is a woman is the question. How does she become a woman? Through the 8 evolution, femininity stages or elements or evolutionary steps. Okay? All right, so now, the sex is determined, okay? What you've got to understand is this. Sex is determined by the masculine or feminine that originated as energy. That dictates what your sex is going to be. So it's not your parents. It's not up to you. It's not up to your buddies or whoever, those people that's filling your head. It is the will of the creator, or that of the universal energy, or the universe decides what energy that you're going to have, and that energy dictates what your assignment be, whether it's femininity or masculinity, and thus what sex you will be. So your sex is not your choosing. Now, what we've got to learn to do is we've got to learn to embrace what the universe has sent us here to be. Why would the universe send us to be here like this? Because this is the best way for you to fulfill the reason, the purpose that the universe sent you. This uniform, this suit that you have, this sex that you have been assigned, is the best way for you to begin to fulfill the reason that you were sent. Now, what were you sent to do? Good question. That's why you need to go to a purpose sphere to find out what is it that you are supposed to be doing here right now. Okay. Now, we talked about sex. Okay. Sexual identity. Let's talk about sexual identity. Sexual identity is the identification an individual has towards their own sexual preferences. And I said preferences. Now, and I'll stand on that it is preferences. Someone will say that this is how you've been developed. No, you may have been developed, but you've been developed through a dysfunctional means, because you weren't reared by a functional woman, but by a dysfunctional female who has not reared or matriculated into womanhood properly, nor has she matriculated through the femininity elements or evolution of womanhood. And it's because of that that she wasn't able to teach you how to be a woman. Or it's the same way, flip side, for the guys. It's the same thing. A failure for your parent to develop, and that's whose responsibility it is to ensure that you gain the proper developmental tools to properly take on your purpose and to fix and to do what you're required and have been assigned to do here on this earth. This is why we're finding our community, culture, and clan in crisis, because we have people who are not growing and developing and maturing. You can hear it in the way they talk. It's not hard to tell where a woman who's 40 years old sounds like she's 20. Why? Because she's not developed in one or more of the 8 areas that she was supposed to evolve in. And because she didn't evolve in those areas as a child, probably because she was reared in a home by a mother who was not developed properly, that which not developed properly cannot develop that which needs to be developed. They can't. You can't do what you can't and what you aren't. You can't do what you aren't. So if your mother was broken, then you are not going to be to the full extent mature and develop in the way that you need to be, unless you get help. Unless you get help. We all need help. And there's means of getting help. And we're going to talk about that later. Because we can't go into that now. We need to stay here in this place right here for right now. Because we want to know, what is a woman? What is a woman? A woman is the most splendid formalization that the Creator made. Understand this. Man was created, woman was formed. There's a difference. There's a difference. But see, we don't want to, we just want to look at the biological perspective. But you have to look beyond the biological. We have to look beyond it. We have to look into the realm where spirit, energy reside. So what is a woman? Now here's one thing that we've got to understand about a woman. A woman is physiologically determined because she has a womb. She has a womb. A woman has to have a womb. Now, this womb has to be that which she had developmentally, right? Is not something that's been put in by or obtained by artificial means. She has to have a womb, because there is scientific evidence. I've heard a doctor who says that he's able to put a womb in a man. I don't know how true that is, but I would dare say that even if you put a womb in a man, he's still not a woman. He's still not a woman. Okay? No more than a man. Excuse me, what did I say? I goofed that up. A womb cannot be put in a man, right? If a man has a womb, he's still a man. He's not a woman. But if a woman has to have a womb. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know what I did over there. Okay, but a woman has to have a womb. If a man receives a womb, he's still not a woman. Innately, developmentally, organically. has to have a woman, has to have the proper tools to be identified as that sex. Now, what we want to say is, we hear people saying that, okay, I get the whole idea about sex, but what about gender? Gender is what I want myself to be. I can be whatever I want because of my gender. Gender is a matter of preference, individual preference. So if we're going to define gender, is a person's gender is how one identifies himself internally as well as externally. Attitudes, traits, and mentality determines one's behavior, how they think, and externally how they choose their choice of clothes, appearance, and behavior expresses individuals' preferences, preferred gender. Okay. So gender is the whole idea of, where the development of those 8 criteria, the 8 developmental feminine, in this particular case, the feminine evolutionary steps or elements. It's these 8 that help to develop gender. It's a lack of understanding of those things that will cause the femininity of a girl, or let's say girl, because normally the things that happen in the childhood, things that's going to upset the apple cart, those things that would truncate and keep them from reaching girlhood. It's always something either it's in life, but normally developmental years or in femalehood. But the bottom line is, these things affect them, stunt their growth in the 8 elementary, the evolutionary process. So they don't matriculate, and because they don't develop properly. And because of that, what they do is notice what I said before. I said gender is how one identifies themselves internally, and externally. Attitudes, traits, and mentality determines one's gender. Okay. Now, and what happens is, because they fail to be taught, discipled, and disciplined, son, you tell your daughter, you say, daughter, this is what girls do. This is what boys do. And why do we do that? Because it's in line with their feminine and their femininity. Because when properly taught by a woman, the femininity of the woman will show the femininity of the girl or the female how to operate. That's why mature, full-grown women are important. But what we're seeing in our community, culture, and clan is that women are taking a back seat because they're intimidated by females. They're intimidated. They don't speak up. They'll let these undisciplined, underdeveloped females say and do whatever they want, and won't chasten them, won't correct them. A woman will make corrections. Why? Because by nature, she wants to protect and secure. She wants to protect and secure. Because that's who she is. But if she's not doing that, then is she being the woman that she's supposed to be? She's been intimidated by, and that's one thing about a woman. She's not intimidated. She can do what she can't. She needs, and I remember when I grew up in the church, the mothers in the church, well, you couldn't do anything in the church. But those were women. Those were women. They didn't take any foolishness. Well, some of them were women. Some of them, not all of them. but you get my point. You get my point. That's the bottom line. Okay, I can go on. I need to go on. I need to go on. I need to go on. So we're talking about gender. We're talking about gender. Okay, if one's gender is determined on how one sees themselves and represents themselves in the world, then there is no defining line that is right or wrong. Okay, if there's no gender, then there's no right or wrong. This means that we can behave, we can be whatever we want to be when we have not been such created. In other words, if you say that you can, that there's all kinds of women and only women can identify women, and that only women can determine gender because it's how you see yourself in the world. Well, you can see yourself as anything. You can see yourself as a microphone. You can see yourself as an elephant. You can see yourself, but that doesn't mean that that's what you are. You can see yourself as being anything, but that doesn't make it right. Because you seeing yourself that can be an organic malfunction, or it can be a malfunction that took place from failing to thrive and to develop through the 3 stages and through the 8 femininity evolutionary steps. Okay? So just because you think you're something does not make that right. I can think all I want that I'm a Caucasian man, but I'm not. I'm not. I can check Caucasian male on that doctor's form or that employment form or that whatever. I can check Caucasian male or I can check whatever I want to check, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to say that I'm that. Right? So if I say I'm a Caucasian male, you're going to tell he's a Caucasian male. Really? No. You know better than that. Okay? Now, when we start talking about, there's so much more I want to go into. I want to talk about types of gender. I want to talk about gender preferences. Let me just go here, because I want to hit this before I go, and that is the whole pronoun thing. This is where we're the big issue that we're being confronted with right now, the gender pronouns, and what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. Well, those that are non-binary have a tendency to say that that if you don't recognize their proper pronoun, then you're being disrespectful. I say that if I say you can identify yourself anything you want, but I don't have to be that deluded. I know a man when I see a man. I know a woman when I see a woman. The universe has made those distinctions intentionally, whether you like that or not. Those distinctions have been made. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to segment gender into the different genders, and there's only really 4. Actually, there's 2. But these other 2 have been drafted in by those who are non-binary, because there's only 2. But they say that there's masculine, feminine, neuter, and common as being types of gender. Neuter being neither male or female, and common being both. Again, those things happen, but those are not the average. They are not the rule. They are the exceptions. And I'm not saying that they don't occur. They do. And they need to be dealt with accordingly. But that not everybody that's declaring that they're exceptions are not exceptions. you going by your preference. And when we talk about their preference, there's preference agender, cisgender, gender fluid, gender queer, intersectional, gender non-conforming, and transgender. And it goes and it goes and it goes. Okay. But then we get to the pronouns. Okay. Now there's 6 types of pronouns, right? There's 6 types of pronouns. And within those types of pronouns, there are between 70 and 80 gender pronouns in America. That's why you hear these people, they're confused. They don't know what to call themselves. Why? Because all these gender pronouns, you can feel like one thing today and another thing tomorrow. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And so I'm not respecting you because I don't know what you feel like today. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, this is ridiculous. There are 2 genders, masculinity and femininity. Masculinity and femininity comes from masculine and feminine. Masculine and feminine comes from the Creator. Everything else is things that we've created of ourselves. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. I've gone over a little further than I would like to, but I'm going to be right back and close up. But before I do, let's go to this.
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. There's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform. G. Alfred Palmer bridges the gap from uncertainty to the purpose, to passion, and leadership. Book him today for your next event, and you won't be disappointed.
I'm back. You know what? I had to split screen up again. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought I turned it off. I did. I came out of it. I don't know. I must have hit it again by accident. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. I have to apologize for doing that again. Anyway, let's let's get ready to close up. And again, I need your help. I need you to hit the share. I need you to, first of all, I need you to subscribe, share, like, and hit the notification bell. Please. Would you do that right now? Would you please do that for me right now? I'm asking you to help me out by doing that right now. Thank you. Well, anyway, that's our program for tonight, our show, our program, our broadcast, whatever you want to call it. And I'm hoping that answers a question. I would love to have some questions and some. So there's a website and there's the email address on the ticker below the screen. So you can email me. Let's talk. I mean, if you want to talk to me, feel free to talk to me, and we can. I mean, like adults, right? Like adults, and discuss whatever it is that you feel that I'm missing it, and I'm willing to share with you where I'm at too. We could do that, but to do that, we have to be adult about it. We have to be adults. Okay. All right. So anyway, we're gonna get ready to get out of here and call it another evening. But I do appreciate you coming in here and being with me, and hopefully we can do it again very, very soon. So till next time, this is Dr. G. Alpha Primer saying, see you later.